In this tutorial, we're going to use InDesign CC 2020 to go through Classroom in a Book Chapter 9, which is all about working with styles. It's really important that you learn how to work with styles because they are critical to making sure that we can create consistent design over and over again that's easily manipulated with just a few clicks instead of having to go back through your entire publication. Plus, InDesign will tattle on you if you try to override your styles. And it's pretty obvious when you do. So pay attention to how you do these different elements. It's really important that you understand those styles. I can guarantee you I take a lot of points off for missing style things. So let's go ahead and go into our Chapter 9 start file. Let's do a file, save as, change it to first initial, last name, underscore InDesign, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 9. We're almost done with these, believe it or not. And I'm in my Lesson 9 folder. I'm going to go ahead and say save. Alright, so we're going to do, if we look at the end file, we're going to look at a number of things we're going to create here. We're going to play with how to create some drop shadows. We're going to work on how to style some tables, which is something you will have to do in your publications. Work on styling different types of text. So it's actually a pretty fun one, not too hard, but you do have to pay attention to a lot of the little tiny details. To get started, let's make sure we're in the same workspace. So let's go to Window, Workspace, and let's make sure we're in Essentials this time. And it really just depends on which one you feel more comfortable with as far as workspaces go. I usually end up with kind of a cross between quite a few of them. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a peek at what we have here. Let's go ahead and grab our pages and come down to this first page where we've got our heirloom vegetable seeds. So let's go ahead and play with some paragraph styles there. So we've, in the past few lessons have gone through and applied some pre-made character styles. So what if you want to create your own? Let's go ahead and figure out how to do that. Let's grab our text tool and highlight our heirloom vegetable seeds here. And we're going to go ahead and style that text. Once we get it styled, we will go ahead and use it as our example of what we want everything else to look like. So let's go to our properties panel over here and grab our fill, and let's go ahead and make it that red tomato instead. And let's bump it up to, let's bump it up to 18. I don't know why this is doing this. Alright, let's go bump it up to 18 points, so it's nice and big. And let's go ahead and play with some of the other styling as well. So it's in the paragraph area, so we've got character. Let's grab paragraph. I'm going to slide that so you can see a little bit more. I want to go ahead and add, if you don't see all these, go ahead and hit those 3 ellipses and get the more options. And we want to go ahead and make sure we automatically add a little bit of space before and a little bit of space after. So in space before, which is the third one down, we're going to go ahead and bump that to 0.05. So we're going to type that in, 0.05. And in space after, so we've got the little line after, we want to go and put 0.025. And you can hit tab to jump between those. So now it'll automatically style those elements that way. So the next thing we're going to do is making sure it's still selected. We're going to create a style from that. So let's go to Type, come down here to Paragraph Styles. And Paragraph Styles, it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? We want to add a new paragraph style. So let's go to our hamburger menu and come here to New Paragraph Style. And we're going to get the pop-up box. In the pop-up box, I want you to go ahead and name it Head 2. Alright. Then we're going to go ahead and see that there's other things. We want to know what is it based on. We want to have it based on no style. Let's shrink that down a little bit. Okay. So we've got it based on no style. And that's all we want to do for Oh, okay. We want to do next style. We want to do select intro body because this style is used for the text that follows the head too. So we want to go ahead and make sure it's intro body. Follows each time on that one. And in the shortcut box, see if I can find my shortcut. We want the apply style to section right here. Trying to find my shortcut box. Oh, shortcut right here. There we go. Losing my mind. In the shortcut box, let's go ahead and do Command 9 or Control 9. So if you are wanting to quick assign that, if you hit the keyboard selection combination, you can go ahead and make it really easy to put that in without having to go into your styles menu. And make sure that we don't add it to our library. We don't want to have it all the time. So let's go ahead and push OK. So now let's go ahead and apply that head to a few other places. So we want to do it on fruits and flowers. Because it is a paragraph style, we can just click inside of it. And let's hit that head 2. Let's go Tools and Accessories and try our Control 9 and see how easy that was to install as well. And I think that's all we want to use that one for. It is. Alright, so let's do Control S and save and click outside. So we have everything deselected. So now let's go ahead and create some character styles. Character styles are a little bit different because they apply to only like individual letters and words. So think of them as characters. Paragraph applies to everything within that paragraph block. So let's go to the first paragraph on page 2. Let's go Control minus. Let's do our pages. Let's go to page 2. Go to that first paragraph, grow your best. And we're going to go ahead, let's take a peek at what we're creating here. On the end one, we just did this part, the heirloom vegetables. So we want to go ahead and grow your best. We're going to create some of these urban oasis gardens. Alright, so we're in grow your best. We want to go to type and open character styles. So then we want to go ahead and play with some of those. So let's grab our words urban oasis gardens with our text tool. Alright, we've got that. In the appearance panel of properties, we've got our appearance section right here. We want to go ahead and change that fill to be the medium green. Okay. Then we want to go to our little ellipses. Oh, let's go in here. Go to our ellipses in character. And let's go ahead and make sure it's small caps. So that's that second one in. And now we want to go ahead and create a new style. So let's go to the bottom of the character styles and do create new style. And nothing, it seems like nothing happened. So actually something did happen. We created character style 1. Now let's go and double click character style 1 and name it. So let's call it garden 1, our garden name. We want it based on none. Let's go ahead and give it a shortcut of Shift Control 8. So that way when we want to go ahead and change it, we can do that. And let's go ahead and take a peek. We can see that that character style is now in our styles. So let's go ahead and say OK. And let's go ahead and apply it. So let's go ahead and go to the second paragraph over here. We've got Urban Oasis Gardens again. Let's go ahead and grab that and hit our garden name right there. So it makes it really easy to change. Oh, we've got it one more time here. The Urban Oasis Gardens and Tools and Accessories. So let's try our Shift Control 8 and see if it works. It does. Isn't that awesome? So you want to go ahead, maybe later on we decide we don't like that green, we want to do purple instead. It's really easy because we have this style to go ahead and make that change one time instead of having to go through and change them all. So that works in our favor. Let's go ahead and do a Control S and save what we have and deselect. Now the next one we're going to do is a little bit more complicated. It's called nesting character styles inside a paragraph style. It's actually going to allow us to create a couple of automatic things. So if you see, if we look down at our page 2 and 3, we have these words like a color with a colon and then some type of other descriptor with a period after it. It's all styled the same way. Something, colon, something, period. So we want to go ahead and look at the example. And if we look, we see that the color, or whatever it is colon, is green. And then that what before it goes the period is that italic. So rather than having to go through and do that every single time, we can go ahead and create a nested style to do that work for us, which makes it a lot easier. So let's go ahead and do our views, fit, spread, and window. So we can see both pages side by side. And let's go ahead, we should be able to see beans right here with the green black Valentine. I'm scrolling just a little bit to make it a little bit easier. Scoot over a little bit. Okay, so I'm in my green black Valentine. So we want to go ahead and the colon separates the variety and the name, and the period appears after the description. So let's go ahead and use our type tool and hit this first selection of green with the colon. All right, and then we're going to go to character style. We're going to go to a new character style, so let's go to the hamburger menu. And that new character style we're going to call variety. And we do want it to apply to the section. On the basic character formats, or we want to do based on. No, we don't. We want to go here to basic character formats. And the font family, we're going to go ahead and say Myriad Pro. The font style is going to be bold. And let's see, let's go to character color and make it the medium green. So if I move this out of the way, you can see this happening as we go along. Make sure your preview is turned on. We do not want to add it to our library, and then let's say OK. So now we can see that that variety style is right here, and I could go through and check every single one of those, but there's a faster way to do it. We're just not there yet. So now let's do the black Valentine and style that, and grab the period as well. And let's go ahead and do a new character style there. So new character style. This works much better to establish the styles first and then to do the kind of the programming. Otherwise it doesn't work as well. Alright, so we want to call it vegetable name. Okay. We want to change our font, should be Myriad Pro, so our basic character format should be Myriad Pro. And this time we want to make it italics. And I think that's all we're going to do to it. Alright, we want to apply it to the section. So go back to General, apply to our style to selection, and say OK. So now I have created those two different styles. I'm going to make sure I have nothing selected. Go ahead and do a Control S to save. So now we're going to go ahead and create a nested style. So let's go to our type. Come down here to paragraph styles. And we want to go over here to double click the catalog body to open it. So let's go ahead and grab catalog body to open it. And now we're going to create a style within the style there. So let's go ahead and from categories on the left side, let's do drop caps and nested styles. So we want to do a new nested style right here in the middle. And the first thing we want to do is say we want it to say none. And we want to select the character style to be variety. We want it to go through one word, and where it says word we want to go ahead and put, so you see how it automatically did that? We want it to stop at it says word says type a colon in the box. So let's go ahead and put a colon. All right, so I'm gonna hit tab and get out of there. All right, so now it's anything that's, its variety is through the first, up to the first colon. So all of those went through there. So now let's go ahead and make sure your preview is on so you can see that. We're gonna add one more nested style in catalog body. So let's go ahead, add one more new nested style. And our new nested style is going to be vegetable name. So we just made vegetable name. And we want it to go up to instead of through. So anything named up to, and we're going to go one sentence. So up to the period. So it's actually looking for that period right there. And we want to put period right there and say OK. And you'll notice now that anything that's called catalog body now has these other styles installed as well. So instead of having to go through, maybe you have many pages of this, this makes it a lot easier to go through and make this process much more streamlined. Let's go ahead and do a Control S and make sure we're out of that one. Let's go to our pages. Our pages, let's go ahead and go back to page 1. So we can see our urban oasis garden, and we're actually going to create some object styles now. So unlike a Photoshop, you can't apply a drop shadow or other type of styles to the individual words. You have to apply them to the box themselves, which is kind of goofy. So let's grab our urban oasis garden. Let's go up to our object, come down here to effects, and let's go ahead and do drop shadow. So we can go ahead here, our drop shadow, our preview is turned on, and we're going to go ahead and leave all of these the same and say OK. So now we have created the look we want to create somewhere else. So grabbing our selection tool, we're going to go ahead and select that urban oasis garden again. If you haven't already, go to Window, come down here to Styles, and we want to create an object style. So with that object style, we're going to go ahead and create something for a drop cap. So let's go ahead down here to our bottom where it says Create New Style. Click there. We got that basic graphics frame. Let's go and double click that. And we're going to change that name to, let's go ahead to, why isn't it letting me change the name? Oh, we should have done something else. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to do a Alt click. So it's going to open that up all at the same time. So now we can go ahead and name it. Sorry about that. Drop shadow. And we want to go ahead and tell it to apply. We want to base on what we have right now. We want to apply to the section. And we're going to go ahead and push OK. So now I've got my one called drop shadow. So now let's go ahead and come down here to page number 6. We have this how to grow. Let's go ahead and select that box and hit that drop shadow as well. So you can see how you can easily create a repeatable process that makes your design look a lot more consistent and a lot more professional, really relatively easily. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and style our table here at the bottom of page 3. So we've got our fabulous flower tips. And tables are a little bit goofy. They're still a little bit clunky to work with. We're going to go more through tables in chapter 11, but we are going to start with some of the styling of them right here. In order to mess with a style, you have to have your text tool, your type tool. So let's go ahead with my type tool selection. I'm going to go right outside this top header and get the arrow so I can select the whole row at once. So let's go to table, come down here to cell options. We want to mess with strokes and fills, so that's our outlines and our fills. All right, so in our strokes and our fills, we want to go ahead and leave the weight as black. What we want to change right here is the color. So let's go ahead and change that color into green brightest. Turn our preview on so we can actually see what's going on. And let's go to our, and we're going to go ahead and say OK. Now with it still selected, let's go to Window. Let's come down here to Styles. Let's come down here to Cell Styles. Alright, and we're going to create a new cell style. So let's go ahead and go up to our hamburger menu, New Cell Style. We're going to get our pop-up box here. And we're going to go ahead and call it Table Head. So you will be creating tables in some of the work you do for your publications, so pay attention to styling these elements. It can make your life easier. Alright, so in the paragraph style menu, we want to base it on, want to do it on head number 4. Alright, so we've got our preview, we're putting it on head number 4. And we're going to go ahead and say OK. Alright, so now you see we have, or we're going to go ahead and apply the table head. Now our problem is it's got that little plus sign, which means we have now overridden some of the other things that are going on. So if I actually click out of here so we can see, if I go into my styles, I'll show you what I see when I grade stuff. Character styles, let's grab our paragraph styles. If I do the show highlighter, it shows me every time that we have overridden the style. So it lets me know right away that you have started with a style but then done something else to it. So you want to make sure that you are using your styles as much as possible. Alright, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and click in my type here, go select that box again, and I've got my table head. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to clear overrides. So it's that third button in, and that's going to make that plus sign go away. So now it's going to go ahead and fix whatever it is that was creating that problem. So now if we look at our sample in the end, this one has got, we just did this part, the where to plant, and now we need to style the rest of these rows so they're kind of banded. So we click out here, we can see we've done that part. So next thing we're going to do is grab our type tool and click anywhere in the table to select it. We're going to go to Window, we're going to come down here Styles, and we want to go ahead and do Table Styles. And we want to create a new table style, so we're going to come up here to our hamburger menu, New Table Style, we're going to get our pop-up. In our pop-up we want to go ahead and mark it Garden Table. Alright, so what do we want to do? We want to style it. So our header row, we already know that we want to call it Table Head. Alright, now we want to go ahead and set up the alternating rows of color. So where it says fills, we're going to go ahead and say we want the pattern to be every other row. Then we want our first row to be the color of paper, which is white. And we want our next one row, the color to be that green brightest. But we don't want it to be that bright. Let's go ahead and make it 30%. And we're going to say OK. So now we actually have to apply that to our style. So we're going to go ahead and hit within the table. We want to go to our table. We want to select the whole table. And we want to tell it to be Garden Table. So now all of that has been done for us. We'll see that we've got our, do our deselect out here. We have our table head here. We have our every other row is just the way we want it. So now let's go ahead and apply that to the table over here on page number 6. So we have this drop-in garden clinics. Let's grab our text tool, click in our table. Let's go ahead and go to table. Come down here to select the table. Alright, once we have select the table, we're going to go ahead and put that garden tables on there and say that's exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and switch to our other tool. If you did get a plus sign, we'd want to go ahead and clear those overrides as well. So that will be totally perfect the way we want. So let's do a Control S and save. And you see how easy it was to create something that looks really nice just by having that little bit of work done first. So what if we want to globally update and change a style? So let's go ahead and go to page 4. And let's do view, fit page and window. So we can see the whole thing. Dock this over here for now. Alright, so we want to go ahead and do something with beans. So let's grab our text tool, highlight beans, and we're going to add a little bit of a rule underneath it. So if we look at our end one, we have this red rule underneath, so we're going to go ahead and mess with that. So let's go to type, grab paragraph, get that menu to pop up for us, and we want to go to our hamburger menu, and we want to come down here to paragraph rules. Remember, rules are lines. Alright, we want to put a rule below, and we want to make sure our preview is turned on. In that rule, now we want to hit rule on. So we've turned that rule on. Now we want to make it a 1 point that is the red tomato color. And we want to offset, which means we want to move it from the base a little bit. We want it to be 0.025 and leave all the others the same. And now we say OK, and we now get that line below beans, which is awesome, which is what we want. So now let's go to type. Let's go to paragraph style, and we want everywhere that we have beans to have that red, or everywhere we have that style head 3 to have that as well. So we can see head 3's got this little plus sign saying we've got a problem. So we want to redefine the style. So let's go up here to our hamburger menu. We want redefine style, and now it's going to tell it, okay, add that rule to everywhere that has that element going on. So that's exactly what we wanted to do. And we don't have any pluses. Pluses tell us we've got a problem, so we definitely want to make that go away. Let's go ahead and click out and Control S to save. So say you want to apply these styles to something else, another document. You really don't want to have to make them all up again. You can transfer styles from another document. So maybe you want to use part of this as what you're working on in your publication. So we can go to type, come down here to paragraph styles, where I already have it open. We want to go to our, it's our paragraph styles. Let's go up here to our hamburger menu, and we want load all text styles. So it's going to go ahead and copy all those and say, okay, where do you want to put them? So let's go ahead and go into this 9 end and say open. It's going to say, what do you want to load? I don't want to have all of them come in, so let's do uncheck all. What I do want to bring are the drop caps. So I want to have that drop cap body, and I want that other drop cap right there, and let's say OK. So now it will import those two styles. So let's go ahead and look at what we have here. Let's use our type tool. Let's go to our pages. Let's go to this right here, your heirloom vegetable seeds. Let's go to our type tool. Click here, and you now see that we have this drop body cap, and that automatically came in from the other document, which is exactly what we want. So you can borrow styles from something else. Makes your life a lot easier. So we have done a lot of styling here. Definitely pay attention to how you create those styles, how you can create something that looks really polished and unique. Let's do now we're ready to package. We have no errors. Let's do a file, save as, or save. Let's do a file package. We have no errors. Let's go ahead and say package. Make sure that we're putting it in our lesson 9 folder. Instead of folder, we're going to write PKG for package. Make sure we're putting it in our lesson 9 where you know where it is. Say package. I'm going to go ahead to my File Explorer. Open up that window. Mine's on my desktop, so I know it's in my Classroom Read a Book, lesson number 9. I just did this PKG. It's got no, it doesn't have any links, so it just has fonts. So we've got the fonts there. We've got our lesson. So go back out, right click, and send to compressed file. You're going to get that zipped copy. And on that zipped copy, you're going to go ahead and make sure that that is the one you're turning in. So if you have problems with styles, go back to this lesson. It'll make your life a lot easier.